Hi, I'm Wayne Allyn Root for Personal Liberty. Is everyone asleep at the switch, stuck in la-la land, delusional and detached just like our president, whistling past the graveyard? Because a combination of my crystal ball and just a little common sense says a major stock market correction, perhaps even a dramatic crash, is in our future. Does anyone on Wall Street read the news? Security experts warn a terrorist attack on American soil appears imminent. Only days ago, the federal government obviously agreed, sending out a warning to government agencies of an imminent attack on our southern border. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. Where would the terrorists come from? Well, our southern border with Mexico is wide open for anyone to walk across. Our border is under siege. Our country is under attack. Obama has no strategy to stop or even slow terrorism at the border, let alone an invasion of America by desperate poor masses expecting billions of dollars in welfare from cradle to grave. Just the cost of educating the new illegal children in the school year is over $700 million. We're already bankrupt at $18 trillion in debt. Where will the money come from? Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. But our unsecured southern border with Mexico could bring more than just terrorism or poverty. Ebola is spiraling out of control. World health experts are quietly preparing for an Ebola pandemic, infecting as many as 100,000. If it reaches America's shores, the resulting panic could overwhelm the health system, shut down commerce, close schools, and result in transportation and supply interruptions. All it takes is one infected illegal immigrant crossing into America after exposing hundreds of others in cramped, unsanitary conditions during the border crossing. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. The situation in Ukraine just got much worse. There are over 20,000 Russian troops massed at the border. NATO just proved with satellite imagery Russia has physically entered Ukraine. The invasion has begun, a worst-case scenario. EU leaders and military experts are publicly warning this could be headed for World War III. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. The war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza may have just been a precursor of bigger things to come. It too could lead to World War II, yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. Yet all of those threats pale compared to ISIS. ISIS is the game changer. ISIS is perhaps the biggest threat America's faced since Nazi Germany. And our president admits he has no strategy to combat this threat to our very existence. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. Then there's the economy. Taxes are so high that companies are running away from America. Take just the latest example, Burger King. My CEO friends tell me virtually every billion-dollar company in America is plotting and planning the same escape. It's a jailbreak. Everyone in corporate America wants out of Obama's America. So do thousands, or perhaps soon tens of thousands, of high-income individuals. Last year, an all-time record, 3,000 Americans renounced their citizenship. As more corporations and wealthy citizens run for the door, who will be left to pay America's taxes? Yet, the stock market sits at all-time highs. Who will be left to pay our enormous world record-setting debt? The federal debt is up an unimaginable $7 trillion just since Obama took office. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. Where will anyone on welfare find work? There's 92 million working-age Americans not in the workforce. Since Obama became president, over 11 million more working-age Americans have disappeared and left the workforce. 20% of U.S. families don't have a single member who's employed. A staggering one-third of America is now on welfare. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. And the citizens who actually still have a job, otherwise known as consumers, who buy the products sold by publicly traded companies sold and traded on Wall Street, aren't faring too well either. U.S. jobs pay 23% less than in 2008. That's $93 billion in lost wages. The net assets of the average American household down by one-third since 2003 and almost half since 2007. Small business in crisis for the first time in history. More businesses fail each day than start up. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. The recovery is a myth. That's just government propaganda. Home sales just plunged for the 10th month in a row. Retail sales are stuck in quicksand. Obamacare has caused health insurance premiums to rise more since it started than in the 8 previous years combined. Fact. As a result of all this terrible news, it shouldn't come as any surprise. Consumers are in a foul mood. The latest polls show that Americans are unhappy, worried, and pessimistic. That's a bad combination. Yet the stock market sits at all-time highs. In the face of all of this, stock prices continue to rise to all-time heights, all based on one thing, the Fed being forced to keep printing fake money so Wall Street and stock investors can get rich on the misery of the rest of us. Trusted economic guru Robert Shiller's price-earnings ratio, otherwise known as CAPE, C-A-P-E, is now at 26.5. That's the fourth highest ratio since 1881, and every time stocks at a ratio this high, there's a drop of 30% or more. Add it up. Delusion abounds, investors are ignoring history, danger signals are flashing like Las Vegas's neon lights, America's in severe trouble, the middle class, i.e. consumers, are in shambles, and the stock market just keeps rising to the heavens. We've all seen this story before. It never ends well. The stock market crash of 1929, the Great Depression, the Great Tulip Bubble. Common sense tells me this time isn't different. My gut instincts are all at DEFCON level. I suspect we are one black swan event away from either a devastating stock market crash or long-term deep stock market decline. I don't know when it'll come. No one can predict that, but history says prepare because it is coming. I'm Wayne Allyn Root for Personal Liberty. See you next week. God bless America.